resistance is futile.
Boldly going where no show has gone before. This is The Week in Geek with David D. Squared and Brian Held. Heard live on News Talk 99.5 WRNO and the iHeartRadio app. Here are your hosts, Brian Held and D. Squared.
Good evening. This is The Week in Geek, your source for geek and pop culture news that's trending now. I'm your host, D Squared, with
Brian Held.
Brian Held, how the hell are you, buddy?
Well, I'm a little bummed, man. Our thoughts have really been with all the folks out in southeastern Texas.
Yeah, Houston is getting hammered, man.
It's terrible. And, somebody reached out to us today, Randolph Allen with the USS New Orleans,
right?
Asking us about, donations, charity stuff or whatever. And our friends over at NOLA.com have put out a really good article. If you want to help victims of the flood, of course, you can always donate to the American Red Cross. They're going to be out there helping people. There's a Coastal Bend Disaster Recovery Group. It's a nonprofit agency, and also Driscoll Children's Hospital out in the Corpus Christi area, the Salvation Army, South Texas Blood and Tissue Center reports that they only have a day's worth of blood to give away.
Man.
Yeah. So if you go to NOLA.com, all of that stuff is listed. There's also help for pets. Austin Pets Alive and Animal Rescue in New Orleans are also doing stuff.
Yeah, I know the Cajun Navy's already en route to go over there. I mean,
Good.
right now, it's, basically, I really kind of feel like I'm having almost Katrina flashbacks because it's like everybody went to bed after the Floyd Mayweather and Conor McGregor fight last night. Everybody was in a good mood. My guys that are on the air in Houston over there, we're all playing around, joking on Twitter last night. And then when we all wake up in the morning, Houston's basically submerged, So, I mean, it's everybody's doing okay. A lot of people have been checking in. So
Right.
I know right now, iHeart Houston, they are all hunkered down at the stations. And so far, so good,
Right.
But there have been a few fatalities. And, look, they helped us out. Houston helped us out immeasurably, for Katrina.
Right.
So it's time to turn it around and go help them.
Absolutely. So, guys, once again, NOLA.com has all those links. Go ahead and check it out, and, we'll see what we can do on our end. All right, you ready to get started, man?
Yeah, I see. I'm all flustered today.
All right, fine. I'm going to lay out the show. We're going to do Top Nerd News. We're going to talk about what's hot this week. And then we have not one but two interviews. Skungy is on his way to Vegas right now.
Son of a...
yes, for the Gamestop Managers Expo. So we have a game developer in his place.
Score!
Yes. And
so we'll actually have an educated opinion.
Right.
A well-thought-out, well-rounded person.
Right. We're going to have Starr Long. He was the director of Ultima Online.
Yeah.
And so he's going to be talking about a new project he's working on. We'll hear all about it shortly. Then, of course, we have Dan Carroll, who's the media director for Dragoncon.
What?
Yeah, because we're going to be at Dragoncon next week.
Yes, we are.
Yes. So he's going to tell us all about it, and then we'll close the show out with This Week in Geek History.
All right, well, you ready to do Top Nerd News?
Yes, sir.
And now, your top nerd news stories from around the world, brought to you by the Viridian Tea Company. Find them on Etsy. And now, your top nerd news stories. All right, Brian. So, I guess we already kind of started off with our top, non-nerd news, which is the Harvey situation over there. So let's bring it back and just talk about something that something fun, something like the Joker and Harley Quinn, a true love story that it transcends the ages.
Well,
nothing about like weird spousal abuse, nothing there. It's just they love each other.
Actually, I think that fans are getting a little riled up.
Really?
Yeah, because people are wondering what the heck is going on with the DCEU right now.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they were already riled up before this news dropped. I mean, come on. Even I'm a little riled up about this crap.
So there are reports out that Gotham City Sirens has been scrapped by Warner Brothers.
What?
And instead they're going to focus on the aforementioned Joker and Harley Quinn love movie or whatever it is.
So now that movie is supposed to be in the DCEU with Wonder Woman and Justice League, Batman v Superman, all that jazz. Now, isn't there rumors that a Joker movie that's also going to be there, but it'll be outside of the DCEU?
Yes. Let's see. There's an untitled Joker origin movie in the works by the Hangover director Todd Phillips.
That does not bode well.
Yeah.
What is it going to be? The Joker, the wacky Joker, not the killing joke, rapey Joker?
I who knows, man? It's just so weird. What the heck is going on? And then Crazy Stupid Love filmmakers Glenn, I can't even pronounce that name.
Don't worry, don't try.
And well, the filmmakers are producing this new Joker and Harley Quinn movie,
now,
and it just seems like they have no direction over there.
They really don't. The Gotham City Sirens, that's all like the hot chicks that are like the but it's all the bad girls though, right?
As far as I understand it, yes.
Yeah, it's not like Birds of Prey that was Oracle and Batgirl and
no. This
Black
is
Canary. Was
this
she
is
in
like
that?
Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy and.
So they're going to get in trouble.
Right.
Is that what you're saying?
Well, they would have if they wouldn't have got canceled.
Bad trouble.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I would have looked forward to that. That would have been a visual feast for the eyes.
Yes.
And I'm sure we had a nice, meaty plot.
Yeah,
that wouldn't objectify anything.
I mean, apparently there's still a female-led spinoff in the pipeline, but who knows? I mean, they're just. I don't even think Warner Brothers knows.
I don't think
what
they
they're
do,
doing.
man. I really don't think they do. I mean, I think they're still trying to chase, Marvel. I mean, and they just need to just stop, do what they've always done. Just stick with cartoon movies. Just get out of there. I mean, there's a Man of Steel 2 coming out, right?
Yeah.
I mean, see, I am not excited about that either. I mean, it's gonna be garbage, man. And
yeah, I don't know.
I hate to say that because I want to like DC.
I know.
I really want to like it,
and I don't want to feel like my money is wasted because I'm going to go see these movies, even though I'm a Marvel guy.
Yeah.
Right now, speaking of Marvel,
what?
Right. I hear some good reaction from the Marvel Runaways.
Well, you heard good reaction. I could care less. I think it's going to be a big turd fest. But why don't you tell the listeners what you think?
I haven't seen it. This is what we're hearing.
Well, right. I mean, like somebody got an advanced viewing opportunity like Fox hooked us up with the Orville and the other one.
Right. But anyway, Marvel Runaways, this is interesting. It's going to be premiering on Hulu.
Hulu?
Yes.
Is this their first foray into like original programming / kind of like pop culture?
They do have other original programming, but it's not as prolific as Netflix. So
right.
Maybe the powerhouse of Marvel will, push them to
not
the forefront.
With the Runaways. Like I actually had to go and look up who the hell these little kids were.
Well,
I'd never heard of them.
Relatively speaking, they're a newer kind of superhero crew of kids who discover their parents are evil, and so they run away.
Yeah, but isn't it like based off of like manga and anime kind of stuff? I think like as soon as I saw those words, I was like, nope. Nope.
No, it's Marvel stuff.
I know it's Marvel stuff, but I mean the stuff that I was reading was basically it was kind of a response to a lot of the fan enjoyment of manga and anime.
Inspired by manga and shared that aesthetic.
Ding ding ding.
So
I was right for something, Brian.
Yeah, it was from the Marvel Tsunami imprint. So, yeah, I mean, it's going to be a bunch of kids, right? It may have some
aren't
appeal.
they calling it like the OC, kind of like the 90210 of the Marvel universe?
They did mention that, yes.
Yes, I can't wait to enjoy another angsty teen show about zits and superpowers. I'm all about it. I'm gonna sign up for it now.
Oh, maybe it'll be like Sky High. Maybe it'll have a
Sky High is a great movie. I stand by that movie.
I
damn
love
it.
that movie.
It's a great movie.
Yes. Well, hey, speaking of
I don't
kids,
have to defend myself to you.
Speaking of kids, Fox apparently is looking to reboot Fantastic Four yet again.
Third time's the charm.
I don't know about this one, man.
Fant Four Stick will always stand out in my memory as the most god awful movie around. But yeah, they're trying to make it like the kindergarten heroes. It's the kids of Sue Storm and Mr. Fantastic, Mr. Stretchy Pants.
Apparently, there was a series that was called Kindergarten Heroes by Mark Miller back in February 2012.
Yeah, like it never went to print.
Never went to print, and they're trying to adapt it to screen. And so, yeah, we're going to see Franklin and Valeria Richards.
Right, but we're going to have to suffer through another iteration of bad CGI for the Thing or really bad makeup. I mean, really?
I don't know.
We got the Human Torch down. Can we just take the Thing out of the mix?
Look, maybe
Maybe they could call Marvel and see how they do it for the Hulk.
Maybe if we're lucky, they will just fail again and then sell the rights back to Marvel. Maybe this is
It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
One can hold out hope.
All right, so let's talk about gaming, Brian.
Yeah.
For all of my console brethren who want to fight other console brethren in a nice little non-Civil War mean kind of way, like actually compete against our friends that play the PS4 and our friends that play the Xbox One, and not those dirty PC-loving snobs. Microsoft wants to make that happen, but Sony's being Sony.
Yeah.
Sony gonna Sony.
Right. Yeah, but Microsoft does confirm that it's talking to Sony about crossplay across the platforms. And there are some things that they have collaborated on, like Minecraft.
Yeah, that's true.
Sony actually does crossplay with PC on, I think, Rocket League, and there's a couple of other games. But, Xbox threw up a concern like security or something. I'm sorry, Sony threw up security. And it's like, are you saying Microsoft's not secure? Because PlayStation's network got hacked. In fact, recently it got
hacked.
Did it
again?
Again. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. Cyber
you
Ernie.
Guys suck.
Cyber Ernie, always looking out for us, sent me a notification. Hey, man, you may want to go check your wife's account in case, because she plays PS4. And
Cyber Ernie's okay. He's up in Dallas right now, though. He's okay.
He is.
Good. Looking out for you, buddy.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, we need to take a break. But before we go, let's talk about the Defender series. And, Iron Fist, apparently Danny Rand is now tolerable, digestible, biodegradable.
There's very mixed reactions about Defenders. I caught most of it while we were at Pensacola Comic Convention last weekend.
Okay.
I enjoyed it, all right? Now, here's the thing. A lot of people don't like Danny Rand, and they find him insufferable. I think that the fighting choreography was improved this go-round. I think that was good. I think the other thing is that if you look at Danny Rand as a, 11-year-old kid from when he got in that plane crash, right, and put him in that mentality of like he's never grown up and he's been fed this whole deal about he has this earth-shattering destiny to fulfill, right? It puts everything into his act in context, and it makes it tolerable because it is a little bit insufferable every time, I am the immortal Iron Fist. Okay, we got it, right?
Yes, and I was very excited for him to win back his company,
Well,
Yay,
yeah.
Good for you.
Well, and
now you're even richer.
Well, and that is kind of a I forget the device they use, but basically every time somebody gets in trouble, he just like buys a hospital or something.
right.
You go over here and heal, and I own the place, so they'll take care of you. So,
oh man, jeez, we got to take a break, buddy.
We do, and when we get back, we will hear from Mr. Starr Long, director of Ultima Online. Stay tuned, guys. You're listening to The Week in Geek on News Talk 99.5 WRNO. Join the adventure at QuestCon, October 20th through the 22nd at the Mobile, Alabama Convention Center. We're taking over downtown with great events like our Apocalypse Zombie Experience, Post-Apocalyptic Wrecking Yard, and our Halo Drop Pods. We'll have fantastic guests like Gigi Edgley from Farscape and Paul Amos from Assassin's Creed Syndicate. There will be vendors, artists, and even a kids' con for the little ones. QuestCon, October 20th through the 22nd. Check out quest-con.com for more info.
Black Tie Tans, the premier mobile spray tanning professionals of New Orleans. Black Tie Tans will come to you and give you a natural glistening glow on the go. First-time customers get 20% off their first tan. Find them on Facebook at Black Tie Tans or email them at blacktieTans@gmail.com to set your appointment. Going to a wedding? Going out to the club? Black Tie Tans will give you the look you need. Black Tie Tans. Tell your pale friends.
Is your morning tea just not your cup of tea? Then try the tea blends of Viridian Tea Company. At Viridian Tea Company, they sell blends guaranteed to make you think outside the box. With such blends as My Enemy's Tears, Goth Librarian, Cyberpunk, and many more, your tea experience will be out of this world. Look for the blends at Tubby & Coo's Mid-City Bookshop, located at 631 North Carrollton, or on Etsy at Viridian Tea Company. Try Viridian Tea Company today. Your taste buds will thank you.
In a New Orleans that never was and never will be, airships float high above the city while platoons of clockwork automatons patrol the streets below. In Storyville, pirates, streetwalkers, gamblers, and thieves prowl back alleys in search of their next mark. New Orleans by Gaslight, the premier anthology of locally written and locally produced steampunk poetry and fiction, all set in Victorian New Orleans. Buy it now, available in both paperback and Kindle versions at Amazon.com. New Orleans by Gaslight. You've waited for it, and now it's here. Get your very own Week in Geek Radio Show t-shirt and help support our show. These 100% cotton black t-shirts with the Week in Geek Radio Show logo are going fast. So don't wait. Go to twigradio.com and order your shirt now. Just go to twigradio.com/shop and get your very own Week in Geek Radio Show t-shirt. $15 up to XL, $17 for 2X and 3X. That's twigradio.com.
Now, back to the Week in Geek on News Talk 99.5 WRNO with David D. Squared and Brian Held. Tell your friends. Tell your enemies. Yeah, you'll definitely want to tell your enemies.
This is Brian Held with the Week in Geek Radio Show on News Talk 99.5 WRNO, and I'm joined with Starr Long, a game developer who has been working for over 25 years in the industry, and he's got some great news to tell us about today. Starr, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Before we get started about the games, because that's where you're here, I have to ask, you're a hometown boy. You're from Baton Rouge, right?
That's right. I grew up in Baton Rouge and used to come to New Orleans quite a bit. My parents had an apartment on Royal Street above Hove Perfume Company, and my wife, her family's from New Orleans. They own Aunt Sally's Pralines. And a little-known fact, Richard, my business partner, the pirate ship that's in the Tux Parade, that's his pirate ship that he had custom built. So we have a lot of ties to Louisiana. So yes, I'm a native.
Man, look, all of the game nerds are going to be mobbing that ship now. You realize that, right?
Yeah, totally.
No, that's cool. Now, you went to LSU, right?
Uh-huh.
And you majored in theater, and yet now you're a game developer. Like, how do you make that transition?
Yeah, so I got my degree in theater, and my plan was to go to graduate school and become a tech director, because my degree was actually in all the sort of backstage stuff, so lighting, set, sound design. But I loved games. I kind of was looking for some steady work in between undergrad and grad school, and there was this ad in the newspaper that said video game testers wanted, and my friends and I were convinced. I mean, this was 25 years ago. This was 1992. Like, so no one even knew that was a job, right? And so my friends and I were convinced that this could not be real. That this could not be a real job, right? We thought I would show up this was in Austin. I would show up at the University of Texas. There would be guys in lab coats, and they'd be like, "Oh, you're the kind of person who would show up at this. Could you answer us some questions about what are your interests and why you like video games?" But no, it was a real job, and it was working for Richard Garriott at Origin Systems. It was testing video games, and I was there all of 2 weeks. I called my parents, and I said, I'm not going to go to graduate school. I found my dream job. I want to make games for the rest of my life. This is it. And that's it, and it really, it's, for me, theater and video games are actually very similar. They're both entertainment.
Right.
They're both about making entertainment for people. One involves, they both have kind of a fourth wall. In games, it's the screen. In theater, it's the front of the stage. One's live. And in games, like, at least when I started, games weren't live. They were, pre-recorded, more like television and film. But what got me really moving from being a tester into being a developer was the moving into games that were live, online games, where you really are live. You're interacting with real people over the internet. That is even closer to theater than, single-player games.
Right.
And so that's kind of how I made the transition. Yeah.
No, that's great. And, of course, if we're going to talk about online games, we have to talk about briefly Ultima Online. You brought that powerhouse to the world, and it's been how many years now has it been?
So the 20th anniversary is this coming month. So September 20th this year is the 20th anniversary, and we're actually there's a party where it's currently being supported in DC, and Richard and I are going to be there next month. or later this year. Yeah, 20 years. So it's now the longest running commercial MMO ever. In fact, we invented the word MMO for that game. Yeah.
Now, of course, MMOs, that's your bread and butter, and you have a new one that's already out, Shroud of the Avatar, Forsaken Virtues. It's in early access right now, right?
That's right. So we did our Kickstarter in April of 2013, and then that very same year in November, so just about 6 or 7 months later, we started letting people play the game, even though it was very rudimentary at that time.
Nice.
And then every month since then, we put out a new release. We've added more features, new content, and now the game is fully functional. You can play the entire storyline. All the main game features are in combat and housing and crafting. We're aiming to do a commercial launch approximately at the end of the year, or quote, when it's ready.
No, that's fantastic. Now, there are some things, I was looking at this online, looking at your site, and there's some really interesting things that I haven't seen before in the MMO space. Like you have an offline and an online mode. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so one of the things that we wanted to do early on, and it's funny how this started, Richard, even though he lived here in Austin for 40 years, he actually, about 7 years ago, he married a New Yorker, and she convinced him to move to New York. And so he actually splits his time between New York and Austin. So he travels a lot. And that's not counting all the conventions we go to, like we're going to be at Dragoncon next week. And he was just at Gamescom this week in Germany. He travels a lot. And even though we make online games, he said, I sure would like to be able to play the games I make when I'm not connected. It would be nice to have a single player version, an offline, non-connected version of our game. We talked about that, and we're like, well, maybe we could do that. Let's see. And so we did. So we made, and it started out just so Richard could play the game on an airplane. Right. But then it really became also about, we have basically two big fan bases. We have our fan base who are in it for the game that Richard and I made together, Ultima Online. But then we also have the other half of our fan base, which are here for the single-player role-playing games, the Ultima games that Richard made for 20 years before he and I ever met. And our game is kind of a mashup of the two. And so we basically have two modes. We have offline mode, which literally is offline. You do not have to be connected to the internet, and it's a single-player role-playing game like a Skyrim or an old-school Ultima, and it's just your character, you're interacting with the NPCs. They're actually separate sets of rules for how the game works, like what the merchants sell is different than what they sell in online mode. In fact, everything that's in the store that you can buy off our store is actually on merchants in the game for in-game gold, because what we wanted in the offline mode is we really wanted it to feel exactly like an old school game, like where before we had online stores where you could buy extra stuff.
Right.
Before there were things like subscriptions and things like that. So all that stuff that's on the store, you can get in the game for in-game gold. There's no extra purchases required, nothing like that. It's all offline. And then we have an online mode where that's what you would expect from a massively multiplayer game. But even in that, we let you dial that in what we call selective multiplayer, where you can play the online mode single player, where you're logged into the servers and you see other people's houses and their businesses and you can buy stuff off their merchants. But if you're kind of an introvert and you don't want to see other people, you can play by yourself. Then there's a friends only mode where it's only you and your party of friends playing together. And then there's open multiplayer, which is more like a traditional MMO like everyone expects. And so we have basically 4 different modes of play, and we call that selective multiplayer, and we let you choose how you want to play.
Cool. What's sort of the end game, right? Because if you think of a traditional MMO, the end game is usually raiding, and it's just repeating the same thing over and over and over again. Have you created a world, this sandbox, that, yes, there's that sort of raid dungeon environment that people can go and participate in, but they can also have a role-playing aspect as well? Is that kind of what we're talking about?
Yeah, there's kind of a multiple ladders. We kind of talk about ladders, and there's kind of multiple ladders to climb. So there's a 40-plus hour story that Richard co-wrote with fantasy author Tracy Hickman, who wrote the Dragonlance novels and also the Ravenloft D&D modules, which still to this day is one of my favorite Dungeons & Dragons modules of all time.
Absolutely, yes.
So that you can play that storyline, and while you're playing that storyline, your character is leveling up. Then there's also like you mentioned, there's the complete sandbox of, just going out in the world, collecting resources, participating in the economy, like running businesses. And a big part of it is participating in that economy.
All right.
Another part of it is, like you mentioned, the role playing. So in fact, there's a calendar of player events, and literally every single day, there's at least one major player event. Some of it is just what you would expect, like, hey, we're going to run through this dungeon today. Everyone who wants to go, gather here. But it's usually way more unusual than that. Like, for instance, they invented an entire sport in our game called Gust Ball, which started so there's a magic spell called Gust, which is, like we have different elemental schools of magic, and so it's what you'd expect. It's an air spell that pushes your opponent away, right?
Right.
Well, using our housing decoration system, they built a court, and then one player would volunteer to be the ball, and they would use Gust to push that player around the court into the nets that they built.
Nice.
And then that has escalated now into where there's like 3 different leagues, and this is coupled with there's actually, you're a radio station. Well, we actually have 2 radio stations in the game, and they are supported by, there's actually a radio device that you can place in your house that streams web radio stations.
What?
Yes, and those radio stations are run by players, and the players use those radio stations to do things like live commentary on these sporting events, like PVT tournaments, Gust Ball games, etc.
That is crazy. Maybe we need to get the Week in Geek on one of those radio stations.
Absolutely. We'll hook you up with the radio station, and they'll air your show for sure.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Well, Starr, thank you very much for taking the time. And, of course, you're going to be all weekend long at Dragoncon, right? You got like 10 panels you're on?
Yeah, so between Richard and I, we actually go to 11.
Oh, wow.
So we'll be at 11 panels on the video game and space tracks mainly. We'll be there Friday all the way through, I think our last panel is actually Monday morning. I'm going to be doing one on crowdfunding Monday morning. Yeah, and so if you're at Dragoncon, come see us. Our game's in early access. We're both on Steam early access, and you can download it on our website. We're actually doing a free trial right now. Please try our game before you buy, and the free trial is running through the 30th of this month.
And that's shroudoftheavatar.com, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, Starr, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today, and we'll see you at Dragoncon.
All right.
Stay tuned. You're listening to The Week in Geek on News Talk 99.5 WRNO.
You've waited for it, and now it's here. Get your very own Week in Geek Radio Show t-shirt and help support our show. These 100% cotton black t-shirts with the Week in Geek Radio Show logo are going fast. So don't wait. Go to twigradio.com and order your shirt now. Just go to twigradio.com/shop and get your very own Week in Geek Radio Show t-shirt. $15 up to XL, $17 for 2X and 3X. That's twigradio.com.
Friends, is your morning tea just not your cup of tea? Then try the tea blends of Viridian Tea Company. At Viridian Tea Company, they sell blends guaranteed to make you think outside the box. With such blends as My Enemy's Tears, Goth Librarian, Cyberpunk, and many more, your tea experience will be out of this world. Look for the blends at Tubby & Coo's Mid-City Bookshop, located at 631 North Carrollton, or on Etsy at Viridian Tea Company. Try Viridian Tea Company today. Your taste buds will thank you.
Are you ready for some football? Starting September 10th at the 14 Parishes Restaurant, the Independent Gaming League will be running their online Madden League. There will be discounted food and beverages for all players throughout the day, and all your favorite Sunday games will be airing, so you won't miss a down. Players competing from the venue can also take part in free mini games for prizes provided by our sponsors. For more information about the Independent Gaming League and to register, visit igltournaments.com. That's igltournaments.com. Black Tie Tans, the premier mobile spray tanning professionals of New Orleans. Black Tie Tans will come to you and give you a natural glistening glow on the go. First-time customers get 20% off their first tan. Find them on Facebook at Black Tie Tans or email them at blacktietans@gmail.com to set your appointment. Going to a wedding? Going out to the club? Black Tie Tans will give you the look you need. Black Tie Tans. Tell your pale friends.
Join the adventure at QuestCon, October 20th through the 22nd at the Mobile, Alabama Convention Center. We're taking over downtown with great events like our Apocalypse Zombie Experience, Post-Apocalyptic Wrecking Yard, and our Halo Drop Pods. We'll have fantastic guests like Gigi Edgley from Farscape and Paul Amos from Assassin's Creed Syndicate. There will be vendors, artists, and even a kids' con for the little ones. QuestCon, October 20th through the 22nd. Check out quest-con.com for more info.
Now, back to the Week in Geek with local celebrity Brian Held, hashtag LCBH. Here are your hosts, local celebrity Brian Held, and that other guy, what's his name again?
This is Brian Held with the Week in Geek radio show on News Talk 99.5 WRNO, and I'm joined with Dan Carroll, Media Relations Director for Dragoncon. Mr. Dan Carroll, how are you?
Brian, I'm doing great today. I'm getting everything prepared for Dragoncon next week and talking to fine people like you. And shout out to my peeps in New Orleans. I miss you. I haven't been there in a few years.
The first question off the list I have to ask is, for the uninitiated, what is Dragoncon?
Dragoncon is the world-renowned pop culture festival that features music, film, literature, gaming. It has art. It has just 24 hours a day for 4.5 days. Amazing adventures. If you're somebody who considers themselves a fan, or if you're somebody who just enjoys going to see Captain America or other Marvel movies, you've got a home at Dragoncon. You can come, enjoy the celebration of fandom, and mingle with 82,000 people who have similar interests to you. And those interests could be anything from cooking to science fiction, fantasy, to Lord of the Rings. We cover the gamut. Oh, and gaming.
Oh, of course. You got to have gaming. Let me ask, because there's a lot of cons all over the globe, and over the past few years, we've seen a rise in what I'd call a big box con, right? But what makes Dragoncon so special?
Well, I think the biggest thing about Dragoncon that we just talked about is that it's a fan convention. It's run by fans and for fans. It's a volunteer organization, 2,500 volunteers getting together all year round to make sure this works as well as it can. I'd like to say it goes off without a hitch, but I know what reality is.
Right.
And also the fact that we celebrate the diversity of interest and the diversity of our fans. Dragoncon prides itself, of course, on being fun, but we also take great lengths to make sure everything's safe, and most importantly, that everybody's included no matter who you are. So we work on that area, but there's a time where nerds were people in their basement living some stereotype lives, and they got together and formed these conventions. But today, everybody I know under the age of 35 has mastered a video game or two. Everybody watches YouTube. A lot of people get their information from YouTube, but we also have this wide range of super popular movies, the Marvel movies, the DC movies, and the TV shows from the Arrow and Flash and so many more. So everybody's a little bit of a nerd. Everybody watches Game of Thrones, it seems like, and that's the type of nerddom that goes beyond stereotypes to include everybody.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Dragoncon's a whole lot of fun.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
It just really is.
Well, we like to say around here that geek is chic, and you and I both know that's true. So tell me, you mentioned earlier before the interview that you have around 400 guests that are going to be a part of this event. What are some of the big headliners that we're going to see?
Probably the first thing everybody's going to notice if you go to Dragoncon is that we've added a couple of guests just in the past couple of weeks. Zach Levi from Chuck is joining. Also, he was Entangled. We've got Wallace Shawn, the inconceivable guy from Princess Bride. He's going to be there. And we're going to have and so many other stuff, by the way. Oh, my God. My Dinner with Andre and everything else Wallace Shawn has done. We're going to do something that's a little bit different this year, and we're going to celebrate that cooking is science. Did you know cooking is science?
Well,
Alton Brown does.
Yes, absolutely. Go ahead.
Yeah. Alton Brown does, and he's bringing with Dragoncon, the big announcement, he's a local guy here to Atlanta, and he's bringing the big announcement that Good Eats is coming back.
Wow.
And that's going to be exciting. And the biggest guest announcement in the history of Dragoncon, John Cusack will be joining us.
Wow, man, that's incredible. Now, tell me, you mentioned earlier this is going to be a 24-hour-a-day event when it gets started. You're projected to get over 80,000 attendees at this event. What sort of impact is this going to have on the city of Atlanta?
Well, I can tell you 2 years ago we were around the mid-70 million for the weekend, 75, 76 million. We don't have the latest figures for last year, but it's a significant impact. And one of the things that was great was last year, for our 30th anniversary, the mayor of Atlanta, the city council, they pulled out all the stops, bells and whistles, dog and pony, you name it. We had it right there in City Hall, this big giant party with balloons, where the mayor made a point of talking about how Dragoncon plays a big role not only in Atlanta's reputation for being the nerdiest city in the country, but also Atlanta's booming film industry, because when they pulled into town to make movies here, they found thousands of people who already knew how to make a costume, thousands of people who were already expert on makeup. You know, Dragoncon, Atlanta, New Orleans is one of my favorite cities ever, but Atlanta's a city where people do things, and whether it's tennis or whether it's golf or whether it's costuming, they do it with great enthusiasm, and that's one of the reasons Dragoncon has expanded. And much like New Orleans, we're famous for our southern hospitality.
Oh, of course. And I have to say, man, that y'all snapped up Hollywood South pretty quick when our politicians kind of let it run out the door. So good job on that.
Well, I can tell you I've enjoyed 5 movies this year. I haven't gotten to the movies a lot this year, but of the ones I've seen, most of them have been filmed in Atlanta.
No, that's
movies
fantastic.
I've seen in theater.
Now, one of the things that I wanted to touch on is that it's a huge event, right? It's going to be long. Maybe there's some folks out there that can't afford to make it this year, right? And they need a plan for next year. But there's something new that they can still get on the action. You want to tell me about Dragoncon TV?
Absolutely. Dragoncon TV has been going on now 14, 15 years and is our in-Dragoncon television network. And it's shown in all the host hotels. We're in 5 hotels. We're not in a convention center. We're a little bit different that way, though I love your convention center down in New Orleans. This convention has its own TV network, and for the first time ever, what they capture will be broadcast live, streaming on the internet, and it's got DVR functionality, so you can sign up for DCTV and enjoy Dragoncon from wherever you are, right there in your home in Louisiana. You can watch Dragoncon as it unfurls, and you'll get all of our Dragoncon TV shows plus all the major panels coming out of Dragoncon. And we have, like I said, we have 400 guests. 100 of them are television celebrities in our Walk of Fame, and they give panels about what it's like. The best stories about being in Stargate, the best stories about being John Cusack making John Cusack movies. All of these are going to be broadcast over DCTV, including our gaming competition. For the first time ever, we are going to be on Twitch through the DCTV, and that's going to be esports, and it's going to be exciting. And that's, the young kids, they don't play video games, they watch video games.
No, that's
true. I know you said...
Well, hey,
so that's it. Go ahead.
Before I let you go, before I cut you loose, tell me about the special thing that you're doing this year. Normally, you're always busy working, but you're going to be doing a little bit of costuming, huh?
I am, and for the first time ever, I will be costuming as a character called Major Rex from Star Wars Rebels. He just happened to have looked so much like me that I found out about him when his toy was announced. People started PMing me and direct messaging me and emailing me pictures of this new Star Wars character that they thought was based on my face.
Nice. That's good stuff.
And it's going to be fantastic. And, we have young Daniel Logan, the original young Boba Fett, is going to be here this year. I hope I get a chance to meet him. But this is an outfit. It's not for me. It's not my outfit. It's one to me by the 501st. The 501st, for those who don't know, is a big Star Wars legion of volunteers who do a lot of charity work.
Oh, yeah.
So
All right. Well,
So-
hey, how can
Yeah,
folks-
that's it. It's going to be fun, guys.
Yeah.
www.dragoncon.org for more information.
That's what I was going to ask. Dan, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us about this event, and we will see you there.
We'll see you there, Brian.
Stay tuned. You're listening to The Week in Geek on News Talk 99.5 WRNO. Jezebel Johnston, Devil's Handmaid by Nancy Hansen, is now an audiobook read for you by Brian Held. It's a tale of a young girl from Tortuga who disguises herself as a boy and bluffs her way onto a pirate ship, chasing after her one true love, only to find adventure on the high seas. Jezebel Johnston, Devil's Handmaid is available on Amazon, Audible, and iTunes. Get your copy of Jezebel Johnston today.
Black Tie Tans, the premier mobile spray tanning professionals of New Orleans. Black Tie Tans will come to you and give you a natural glistening glow on the go. First-time customers get 20% off their first tan. Find them on Facebook at Black Tie Tans or email them at blacktitans@gmail.com to set your appointment. Going to a wedding? Going out to the club? Black Tie Tans will give you the look you need. Black Tie Tans. Tell your pale friends.
Friends, is your morning tea just not your cup of tea? Then try the tea blends of Viridian Tea Company. At Viridian Tea Company, they sell blends guaranteed to make you think outside the box. With such blends as My Enemy's Tears, Goth Librarian, Cyberpunk, and many more, your tea experience will be out of this world. Look for the blends at Tubby & Coo's Mid-City Bookshop, located at 631 North Carrollton, or on Etsy at Viridian Tea Company. Try Viridian Tea Company today. Your taste buds will thank you.
You've waited for it, and now it's here. Get your very own Week in Geek Radio Show t-shirt and help support our show. These 100% cotton black t-shirts with the Week in Geek Radio Show logo are going fast. So don't wait. Go to twigradio.com and order your shirt now. Just go to twigradio.com/shop and get your very own Week in Geek Radio Show t-shirt. $15 up to XL, $17 for 2X and 3X. That's twigradio.com.
This is Kate Mulgrew for The Week in Geek.
Just kidding. It's Mary Elizabeth McGlynn, the Major from Ghost in the Shell. Listen, or the Tachicomas are going to get you.
Welcome back. This is The Week in Geek. I'm your host, D Squared with
Brian Held.
All right, Brian Held.
Hey, you fixed another rejoinder.
I did.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Yeah, Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah, no, we need to get some new ones.
Terrible movie, but great anime, and that's why we have, her.
I like the movie.
You like the Black Widow movie?
Yeah, I did.
Wow, you're like one of 8 people.
It was like
good on you.
70% accurate to the manga and to the cartoon movie, the animation.
Okay. All right. You know what, Brian? I want to strongly urge people to check out our Facebook page. That's facebook.com/The Week in Geek. Check out our website at twigradio.com and buy a t-shirt. Also, follow us on Twitter at twigradio, and the Instagram's The Week in Geek. Now, Brian, how can people listen to this lovely show?
Well, if you missed any part of tonight's show or you want to hear your favorite part again, you can catch us on Spreaker.com or download Spreaker for your smartphone or tablet. You can also find us on iTunes, YouTube, the iHeartRadio app, and at WRNO.com.
And eventually the Ultima game.
Eventually, yeah. Or it's a Shroud of the Avatar, yes.
There we go. All right, let's do This Week in Geek History.
Yes.
This Week in Geek History.
We're sending you back to the future!
Yes! Oh my God!
This Week in Geek History is brought to you by Jezebel Johnston, Devil's Handmaid by Nancy Hansen, read by Brian Held. Available on Amazon, Audible, and iTunes. This Week in Geek History.
Yes! Oh my gosh!
Da-na-na, da-na-na.
So, Dave, before we get started, I want to give a shout-out to our newest sponsor. That's QuestCon. They're going to be in Mobile, Alabama at the Convention Center. Oh, jeez.
QuestCon.
Yes, that's October 20th through the 22nd at the Arthur R. Outlaw Mobile Convention Center.
Outlaw.
Yes.
I just want to go there.
Oh, yeah. And they're actually taking over the whole downtown. They're going to have like 4 blocks of activities. It's going to be insane.
Nice.
Their whole warrior wasteland apocalypse
And
zone.
so now
Yep.
This Week in Geek History is officially sponsored by QuestCon now?
Yes, it is.
Nice. I like it.
Yep.
Like it. All right, let's do this Week in Geek History.
All right.
What's first?
You got to guess this one.
Damn it.
All right. On August 21st, 1998. Directed by Stephen Norrington and starring in Bush Wright, Chris Christopherson, Stephen Dorff, and Wesley Snipes.
Is it Blade?
It is Blade.
Oh, thank
Look
God.
at that.
Woo-hoo-hoo.
See, I was trying to throw you
Chris
off there.
Christopherson messed me up, too,
Yeah,
man. I
yeah.
forgot about him. But there was somebody else in it who... No, never mind.
Tracy Lords was in it.
Yeah, but I think maybe it was Blade 2 that had Daryl from The Walking Dead in it. Or maybe it was Blade 3.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name.
It was 3.
It was?
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
And he turned out to be a fang or a ghoul or whatever the hell they call them.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, the tattoos. All right, what's next?
What's next?
We're meandering.
We are meandering. One of our listeners just reached out to us. Sorry. August 22nd, 565. St. Columba allegedly saves the life of a Pict who was attacked by a monster in Loch Ness. Thus starts the account of the beginning of the Loch Ness Monster myth.
Isn't a Pict like just an early Irishman?
Yeah,
so he was drunk. Drunk.
Clearly.
And Colin McGregor went down. Money Mayweather man. Bop, bop. Sorry.
Yeah. No, it's cool.
See,
right.
that's not sports ball. That's boxing.
There.
Pugilism. All right, what's next?
All right. August 23rd, 1991. Nintendo has a limited release of the Super Nintendo Entertainment System in North America. And
that was like last week.
No, that was the Classic Edition.
Oh, okay.
This was the original. And, of course, it came with Super Mario World. So
I don't remember that one.
You don't remember that one?
No, I do not.
Yeah,
of course, my memory's spotty at best.
Well, all right. Next one, August 24th, AD 79.
Jesus, you in the Wayback Machine.
The Roman city of Pompeii is burned to ash during the eruption of Mount Vesuvius.
That's good stuff.
You like that?
I do.
And it was
and the Pompeii movie with Jon Snow, that was really, really bad.
The fun part about
nothing, Jon Snow.
The fun part about this is it was one day after Vulcanalia, the festival of the Roman god of fire, including that from volcanoes.
So they really pissed him off, huh? That must have been one hell of a party, man.
Riled him up, man. It's like, oh, hey, my worshipers, they're after me. I got to show my appreciation.
Your appreciation is deadly.
Yeah. All right, August 25th, 1978. Lego manufactures the very first minifig.
Man, those sons of... Boy, they have broken me as a man and as a parent. I mean, I have mangled feet because of Legos, but I do love the Lego figures, man.
They're cool.
I got a big collection of them.
All right, you ready for birthdays?
Yes.
The 21st, Carrie-Anne Moss. She was Trinity in Matrix. The 23rd, Ray Park. On the 24th, science fiction author Orson Scott Card.
Yes.
On the 25th, Tim Burton.
Oh, well, yeah.
All right, on the 26th, Chris Pine. And on the 27th, Paul Rubens.
Paul Rubens. Oh, yeah.
Pee Wee Herman.
Pee Wee Herman.
There
he
you
was
go.
great in Buffy. All right, Brian, what are we doing next week, pal?
Next week, we will be at Dragoncon. We're going to be putting together some interviews. We will be doing the show from Dragoncon itself. So
are we really?
We
How the hell are we going to manage that?
We're going to work something out.
That's
but
news to me. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll pull a radio signal out my butt. We'll do it live.
We will.
We'll do it live.
All right, guys.
Yeah, all right. So, Thursday we're rolling out, going out to
Dragoncon.
Yeah, all right, guys. Look, NOLA.com, find the charities to take care of our peeps in Houston, and God be with you guys. All right, till next time, keep your nerd flag raised high.
GFL.
Your new home for Walton and Johnson. News Talk 99.5 WRNO FM, New Orleans, an iHeart radio station.